שלום לכולם, מסתבר שאני הפרוקטר הרביעי על הבמה היום, היחיד שהוא עדיין לא אקס, אולי אני צריך להסיק כמה מסקנות. עוד דבר שיבדל אותי, יש לנו כמה אורחים בקהל פה מחול, אז המצגת תהיה באנגלית. אני מתנצל מראש, אני בטוח שגוגל טרנסלייט יפתרו את זה עד סוף ההרצאה. So I'll switch into English. As Rebecca probably still remembers, P&G is the largest advertiser in the world. And the first adopter of traditional media that we all know, radio and TV. However, when it comes to adopting the new media of iVideo and integrated screen planning, well, some of the P&G markets actually crossed the first chasm and moved to mass use of this tool. Many of our other P&G markets got stuck in what is described as the big and scary chasm. And why is that? Because the majority of the leaders of the global brand franchises are VPs in their 40s and 50s that are not digital natives. And when presented with digital KPIs like likes and engagements and views, they only get confused more. You're probably familiar with those VP. However, when we went back to the good old basic, it was described as the Bible before, brand equity and copy measures, we were able to bridge that chasm and actually convince them how to do that. Because we at P&G believe that marketing fundamentals don't change, the tools change, so indeed, why should we change the measure? And what we found useful is moving back from all the digital KPIs that many quote. You'll see me today also quoting these KPIs, but they're just a mean to a bigger end, which is the fundamental business and brand KPIs. And let's talk a bit about short theory, and then we'll move to some examples. The way we've always looked at the effectiveness of our advertising is through the concept of effective GRPs that you probably may know. So for every dollar you spent on an ad, what % of consumers remember your ad, multiplied by what % of them attribute to your brand. What we found striking is that in P&G, almost all the markets get the same video, the same copy. However, when we compare regional uses of this copy, which are usually TV only, to ones in Israel that are either integrated screen planning or a combination or just iVideo, we see an interesting phenomena that you see here. The copy awareness levels are similar to these copies, and these are mainstream copies, Pampers, Fairy, Ariel. But the correct attribution, rightfully attributing it to your brand, is roughly 2 times higher, which in media terms means that you are twice as much more effective. Right? So we knew digital is efficient on certain points of the rich curve. We know it's more efficient than TV, but this signals that it's also more effective. And the more interesting phenomena here is that as marketeers, we always thought that the ones that impact correct attribution can be the ad agency or the people that design the copy. If we get the copy from abroad, can the medium really impact the correct attribution of the brand? And that's what I want to talk a bit about today. Some of the reasons are trade secrets that are kept with Mediacom, and I will not disclose them today, but I do want to talk about 3 reasons why we feel that the medium can really impact the correct attribution and the effectiveness of our advertising. The first point is the moments of receptivity, or video on demand. A bit of history, in 1933, P&G actually coined the term soap operas because of sponsoring radio shows with our soap brands. And through the decades, P&G Productions actually went to producing 20 TV soap operas. Some of them are very familiar. Why? Because they had to create moments during the daytime in which the housewives are receptive to their messages. They had no other way to communicate them. But now with the introduction of mobile, actually these moments happen throughout the day, and we don't need to create those soap operas. This is an interesting chart comparing the blue line is our historical planning on TV of Pampers ads. The red line shows you when actually moms consume the video on YouTube, okay? And from a first glance, you immediately see the asymmetry between the 2 lines. the historical primetime planning for TV is not necessarily when the moms are most receptive. There are other moments throughout the day when they put their kid in kindergarten or when they're lying exhausted at night after the baby is fast asleep. And you could suspect that when moms consume our video, they use our video on demand, they're likely to be more receptive to our messages and attribute the message better to the brand. So this was one dimension. The second interesting aspect that was also talked a bit before is the ability of digital to tell a story and sequence it. We in P&G use the metaphor of creative canvas. We believe all our brands have creative canvases because today the art of advertising can be expressed on a broad creative palette. The core focuses on persuading you that a brand is fundamentally better, linking to consumer insights that connote that. Other parts of the canvas can also educate you, show you how-to videos or use an influencer to convince you. Digital today enables us to take our consumers through a road through our creative canvas. So when you think of it, when a mom sees the basic Pampers Pants copy, but then we sequence another video from a blogger, and then she sees an Outbrain article telling about the developmental aspects of pants, you can sense that she will attribute the original copy better to Pampers. So we believe that the more you take your consumers through your creative canvas, the more parts of it they explore, it means that you'll be much more effective, and that's what digital provides us. The last one is my favorite, Trojan horses, and let's talk a bit about that. Today, consumers are besieged by marketeers, right? All of us, every day, every minute of the day, we bombard our consumers with many messages. And as a result, they've built strong mental and emotional walls to fundamentally keep us away, prevent us from doing our job. There's a nice quote here that you can see that an advertiser and a marketeer needs to think about itself as an uninvited guest in a living room of somebody that has the magical power to make them disappear. And that's what they fundamentally can do. We have two options that actually we still do today. One is the siege. Simply repeat your message and strategy time and time again with millions of GRPs trying to break their walls until they finally submit. The other option is what we call the Trojan horse, which is fundamentally wrapping your strategy in something that the consumers will welcome and open the gate for you and may even actually like your brand. The digital era enables us to do many exciting digital horses, and I'll give you a few short examples of those. The first one is the use of vloggers with Ashley and Ozzy. And Ozzy, if you're not familiar yet with the brand, is a small and very poor shampoo brand of P&G. It's not one of our masses. It's distributed only in Superfarm. Never seen TV. But despite of that, it has consistently found itself in the most viewed YouTube ads monthly chart, actually beating its bigger brother and sisters P&G brand that haven't found their way to this chart before. You can see here the aggregated number of views, the average time per video, which is 2.5 minutes. Again, very remarkable, and the organic aspect of the communication. Let's see a short video of Akshli Bakshi Dakshi.
היי גייז, אני ממש מתרגשת, אני שוב עם עוזי, באה להפתיע את מעיין דלל כאן באור יהודה ליום סופר מגניב. היא בקשית אמיתית כבר מלא זמן ואני ממש מתרגשת להכיר אותה.
Okay, obviously I'm going to spare you 2.5 minutes of Ozzy, but her beauty junkies are actually viewing the whole thing. I think you've sensed here again the Trojan horse and the soldiers of the brand. The second aspect is, and that links again to the moments concept, that we as advertisers need to identify which moments our consumers are most interested in and link to that. In Pantene, we had the challenge to connect with the young group for Pantene, and through very simple research, we identified what they're searching on YouTube's. We found out that they want to understand how-tos on styling. And also through Google Insights, we understood what is the exact terminology they're looking after. So this is an example. And that would obviously lead them
הפרידי את השיער מהאוזניים אל החלק הקדמי והחזיקי בקליפס. הורידי את השיער כששאר השיער מלפנים וקלעי צמה צרפתית. הפרידי חלק משולש בקצה העורף וחלקי אותו לשלושה חלקים שווים.
Okay, and I'll spare you again. Again, digital KPIs, 200,000 views of this, but again, that's not interesting. Because of this activity, Pantene became the brand of choice among 15 to 24-year-olds because of understanding this approach. And finally, news desk or real-time marketing. Today, with digital blends the difference between real-life news and actually advertising. And this is an example that Maccabi just lost 5 minutes ago in the semifinals to Herzliya. You see, we spared no cost in the technology. Our viewer is actually checking the article about Maccabi losing, identifying that the current coach is just about to be sacked, but hey, there's a new coach that is in Maccabi, and when
after
they
losing
click,
so many
this is
games
what
this
they
season, we figured it's time to think out of the box. I'm very proud to introduce our new head coach, Teddy Brown.
Okay, up straight. Eyes forward.
אחד מכל 3 אנשים סובל מקסקסים.
I don't have cuff caffeine. Cascasim.
אולי זה אתה. אז כשהסטטיסטיקה נגדנו, Head and Shoulders, לשיער עד 100% נקי מקסקסים.
You can imagine that the CTR of clicking on this ad was up to 1,000 higher than usual, but what we're really looking at is the top-of-mind awareness that on Head and Shoulders that is the highest since the good old Ohana days, which we're very proud about. So I've talked a bit about Trojan horses, and I'm going to leave you with one final message, and actually a learning from the Monty Python group on one warning when using Trojan horses.
C'est un lapin de bois, hein? C'est un cadeau. What? A present.
Oh, un cadeau.
Oui, oui, allons-y.
What?
Let's go.
Oh.
On est bon.
C'est dans le menu.
Elle est là.
What happens now? Well, now, Lancelot, Galahad and I wait until nightfall and then leap out of the rabbit, taking the French by surprise. Not only by surprise, but totally alarmed.
Who leaps out?
Lancelot, Galahad and I leap out of the rabbit and...
So what's their learning? Today, in the digital world, it is easy to create Trojan rabbits. Trojan rabbits, it's a combination of habits, rabbits, and horses. Because you have this cool technology, you have new media tools every day. What you need to remember as marketeers is never forget your brand soldiers. Because once consumers welcome you into your gates, if you don't have your brand soldiers that then get into people's minds and hearts and do your brand damage and actually leave them with something, you'll be hitting your head like the Monty Python group at the end. Thank you.
תודה רבה לאופיר גוטמן.